Okay, for this session, I will show you how we're going to start to collaborate from scratch. Okay, for instance, if I want to create a central model, okay, what I need to do for this session is to set up a folder in your server or your local PC. Okay, for instance, if I'm closing the file now, so let's synchronize this. Okay. Okay. And what you need to do for this collaboration to work is to have a central folder in your server. Okay. And also the other folder set in the user PC. Okay. Let's say you are you want to store the models in server. Okay. You create one folder in server for that particular purpose, and then please make sure in your PC, in your local PC, okay, the PC that you're going to be the PC that you're going to use for Revit, okay, you set a particular folder, okay, so that you will keep the directory, you will stick that directory and the path, folder path stick for that position. So for instance, if I have a local one folder, I'm going to copy the central model later on and store this on my local PC. So this is the example. Okay, and if you have many members or many team members that you're going to choose, you're going to be with your team, you can make sure every PC have their own standardized naming, conventional naming, and so on. So because working with Revit, sometimes it has to be a very proper way, naming standards, conventional naming, okay, templates, and so on. It has to be the right way. Okay, and during the session, if you have any question, please drop your questions in the chat room. Okay, you can see if there you can find the chat room in the more button. Find the chat and just type whatever question that you are having, and I will try to answer those questions during the Q&A session later. Okay, let's start from scratch. So for instance, if I already store the local folder, if I already have the central file, name it as the ArcSample central here. So this is going to be a central model. So make sure you keep the files in the desired folder, whether in your server or in local PC. Okay, and keep it as simple as possible and try to use the name that everyone understands. If you're going to have a very difficult name, abbreviation, so please make sure your team understands all the execution plan. Okay, so this is some kind of sample. So let's say I'm opening up the models as usual before we create. Okay, let's say we go with central. Okay, and for instance, this is the sample house modeling for architecture, and for whatever disciplines that you are, the workflow is almost the same. Okay, and to create the collaboration settings, what you need to do is to you need to go to collaborate menu, and what you see here is the main collaborate command, and also the work sets. Okay, so if you still have to see it available, it means you can still click this button. Means your model is not yet to be a centralized model. And things that we will to touch a bit is how we're going to use this copy monitor, coordination review for this, so that whenever you're going to collaborate across disciplines or across consultants, so this would be a very good features for you to make sure every changes made is noticeable. Okay, and to start with, we can start collaborate with clicking this collaborate button. Okay, and if you are using Revit 2008.3 and above, you will see there is an options to collaborate your file in BIM 360 document management. So this is some kind of very cool way to make sure you transfer your server in your office through to the cloud. Okay, and you have, of course, you have to subscribe the BIM 360 packages, but to make it work, it also allows you to store it locally within your network, within your local network. Okay, so I will try to show both. So let's say you want to collaborate within your network, you'll just click OK. Okay, just wait for seconds until it saves the file. Okay, and if you want to save the file to different location, you can always do that. So let's say you want to save as project at the central folder, and this one is the, let's say we're going to name it as central 001.rpt. Okay, and click save. Okay, means that you are transferring the model, the local model, to the server and creating a new central model. So by saving this model as in a different places, you can see there is a synchronized but with central button available to click. Okay, and also the active work sets. Okay, so work sets is very particular in collaborations, in Revit collaborations, because if you do it I can say the normal way that it was introduced, okay, people will go with work sets, okay, and create a work sets, okay, and make all the editable is yes, just to keep the ownership for every modelers. Okay, yeah, I admit that it is not wrong, but it is not the best way to handle work sets. Okay, so what will I show you guys is the same thing, but if I'm creating a new work sets, for instance, this is going to be 1F, sorry, for GF for ground floor. Click OK, and then create a new one for 1F for first floor. Okay, and you can also create like work set for staircase. Okay, and some projects use work sets not to be assigned by user, so that is why I prefer it to be no. Okay, so never mind, we have to click OK for now. Okay, and then make this as an active work set, and we have to synchronize with central for now. And while synchronize with central, there are a few things that I will show later, but for now, just click OK. Okay, and if you go back to the work sets here, okay, the recommended way is to make sure the editable mode is set to no. So the reason is when you allow people to own the work set, means that you will have issues on granting access later on when other people want to edit some parts of the drawing that not owned by them. Okay, so in terms of the ownership, so you don't have to worry, because even though it's there, but it's not really necessary to have this, as long as you already assign this particular work sets to particular person, so you don't have to make that as ownership. Because, for instance, if that guy that owned the first floor level is not around or will be absent like for weeks, so your team will stuck at applying the grant and permissions to modify the model. So that will be very troublesome and not really workable for our practice. Okay, and when you click when you set up all the work sets, okay, and make sure the editable set to no, okay, and just click OK. Okay, and for if you already have the model set up, okay, what you need to do is to select the model based on, let's say, from the ground floor model. Okay, if you want to assign this particular model to particular work set, so let's say I'm going to pick all the walls. Okay, let's say I'm picking up the walls, doors, and windows, for instance, for ground floor. And in the properties, by default, it will show you the active work set is work set 1. It is the existing work set. I'm going to change the work set to GF. Okay, and click apply, so that now it already assigned this elements to the GF workset. Okay, and same goes to the other location. So let's say I'm going to assign this staircase here as workset stair. Okay, and this happens when you already have the model, a base model, but you forgot to set the workset properly. Okay, workset doesn't have to be hundreds. It doesn't have to be more than 10 actually. Try to keep it as simple as possible, so that you don't have to worry about how we're going to group this model up. Okay, and this is going to be grouped as stair. Okay, and same goes to first floor level. If I have to do the same thing, so I will go filter. Okay, like selecting floor, doors, windows, and walls for now, and click OK. Try to change the workset to 1F. Okay, and let's say you are assigned as this user. I'm using this account, so that this account is assigned to do the ground floor modeling. So what you need to do is to make sure pick. Okay, if you are familiar with AutoCAD layers, so this is almost the same, but it works in a network environment. So let's say you are assigned to use GF, just make sure active workset is set to GF. And if you want to work on the additional items, so let's say you want to draw, okay, few more layouts here, for instance. Okay, let's mix things up. Okay, for instance, and by default, if you have these models ready, so it already assigned this object to the workset GF. Okay, so that whoever going to work on this ground floor, even though you are the first person to touch the model, and you will let other persons to do the editing and so on. So the other person will make sure every time they want to work with ground floor, it has to activate the ground floor workset before modeling. Okay, so that's the reason why. And so when you have this central model ready, you can always synchronize the model. Okay, so in order to synchronize, you can go to collaborate and click synchronize. You can always synchronize now, or for me, it's my own practice. I always go to synchronize and modify setting and click whatever things that you can click. For instance, you can click this compact central model now, and borrow elements, just click both and click OK. So the reason is why, because we try to make sure the model is as efficient as possible. Okay, to compact the model so that it won't create massive messing files, temp file, and so on. So the unnecessary file will not be created regularly. Okay, so let's say you close the model now, and how the other users on the other local PC will be going to open up the models and create a local copy. So I will show you how. Okay, so let's say you are a different person to work on. So let's say I'm signing up here, continue, all right, and open up with Revit 2020. Sorry. Revit 2021. Okay. I'm logging up as using different email. Okay. So in the meantime, okay, so all right, just wait a while. Okay, afternoon, Lavender. Thank you for joining the session. Okay, so if you are a different person to work with the same project, so you're going to create a local copy for yourself. So you don't have to access the central model, because if you have 10 persons to work on the same central model, then it will be troublesome, because you do not know who is going to be allowed to use a central model and who's editing the model and so on. So let's say you are opening the model here and find the models in this folder, and I'm going to click at this. Okay, and before you click open, please you have make sure you click at this below button. It allows you to create new local, or if you have a completed central model but you want to make sure it is no longer roles, it doesn't have a roles as central. Okay, you can always detach it from central. Okay, so for now I'm going to click at the create new local and click open. Okay, so now you are opening the central file from your local PC. Okay, that depends on the work file. If it's heavier, then it takes longer to open up the model. And what you need to do first is to make sure you save as the project to your local folder. So let's say you have a local folder, local one, and you're going, by default, if you are currently using a Revit, the latest version of Revit, it will define the file by email here like this. Okay, but you can always rename it. So let's say this one is user A, for instance. Okay, and I'm going to click save here. Okay, so if you are the person that will do the work sets, okay, please don't really worry about the ownership of the work set. So what you need to do is go to whatever roles that you are assigned to. So let's say you are assigned to do the first floor level. You're going to set the active work set as first floor. Okay, and let's say now we're going to have the collaborate as first floor active here, and you're going to draw a few more things to as additional items. Okay, for instance, I'm drawing this wall layout randomly. Okay, and let's say I'm putting up the windows also randomly. Okay, right. So now you will see if you want to update the models. Okay, for instance, if you already do the left side of the model, okay, then whatever that you do, now you already save the to local, and you will synchronize the file by clicking the synchronize with central, synchronize and modify setting. Okay, click at the compact central model and click OK. Okay, so it shows here the central model location is here in the central folder. Okay, and then click OK. Okay, so that's the workflow. That is, for me, it's not very complicated, but it is really practical to be implemented, so that you don't have to worry about the ownership, because things that stopping people from using collaboration in Revit is because of the ownership issues and so on. Okay, because nowadays people, we don't really assign to a particular job scope for a long time. Sometimes we do change our roles to replace other people and so on. So this kind of workflow also has been practiced by many companies, and it works well. Okay, so now I already updated the synchronize the model, and let's say I'm saving up. Okay, by synchronize means it's already saving the models in your local. Okay. Okay, and let's say you are opening the central file. Okay, you want to open the central file in this central folder. Okay, central 001. Okay, and don't forget to, if you really want to open the file, don't forget to untick the create new local. Okay, and then click open. Okay, so if you are the manager or the coordinator or whatever roles that you are, to manage your team, then you will open up the central model to see the updates. Okay, and let's say you are assigned a few people to work on okay, multiple. Okay, if you are working on the if you are looking at the central model, then this is going to be the models that you're going to see in as a central model. And to identify which models, if it's categorized properly, and what you need to do, find the, we call it as the work sharing display off here. Okay, there is a very small button next to the reveal hidden elements. Then you can find the work sharing display settings and go to work sets. You can define all the work sets by colors. Okay, you can change colors. So let's say what colors that you still don't have is, let's say you're going to make it red, and you want to change it to green. That then shelf level is okay, staircase and so on. Okay, and let's say you already assign your color and so on. So then you can click OK, and you can go to the this button again and click at the work sets. Okay, so things that have been assigned to that particular work set will be colored as accordingly. So if you find things have worked not on the right way, so you will straight away figure out what are the mistakes done by the modelers. So from here, you can see it's not supposed to be here to be assigned as work set 1. So we will change this to let's say for the first floor. Okay, okay. So now it already changed the color to the new word sets. Okay, and this color coding by word sets is very helpful to manage the models internally if you are having team members working on the same project. Okay, and then you know that if it's wrong, then you can straight away figure out and let your teams change everything that is supposed to be. Okay, so that is the way. Okay, and that is the reason why we do click at this editable as no. Okay, or else if you click yes, okay, even though you can keep the ownership, but it will, you know, create troubles and stopping your team from work smoothly. Okay, and you can also, if let's say you don't want to see the other word sets, for instance, you just want to see the first floor offset, you can simplify the, you can turn off the open category here. Okay, then you will see if your modeler have done the right thing. Okay, so you it's really work similar to AutoCAD layers concept. Okay, but it is in the network environment. Okay, it works smarter than that. Okay, so this is how we're going to collaborate, and that for especially for internal members. Okay, but if you are looking at we've got the questions here. Best way to collaborate and coordinate between multiple discipline systems like architect, model, M&E, and structural. Okay, so Dino, your idea is correct, because this collaborations is really good if you work internally with your team members or with your same disciplines and so on. But to work across disciplines, that is the reason why if you are not using BIM 360, people will just use link model. Okay, so it is the truth for most of the projects, especially in Malaysia. Things that I saw is like when they are working across disciplines, so they manage it well, but all of them are just linking the model without creating a central model. Okay, what you will do is just opening the model, insert and link Revit. You can link other disciplines file and to work on that. So, and with the combination of Navisworks, so it helps you on the coordinations, clashes, and so on. So that's, hopefully that answers Dino's questions. So if you guys have any questions, so please drop in the chat room. So I'll look it for you. Okay, and for other things that I will show you is how actually we're going to use this copy monitor. Okay, so let's say I'm saving this model up here. So I'm going to synchronize with Central. Okay, and let's say I'm acting as um, the plumbing modeler. So if I want to set a new plumbing file, okay, let's browse this template. So we go with English with plumbing. So default metric here. Okay, so if you are working as different consultants, okay, and you will get the models from architects, from CNS, and so on. So you can still so you can still do this collaboration within your team members with the same disciplines. But if you are going to monitor what other things that has been worked by other consultants, okay, when you, let's say you want to link the model, so this is like across disciplines. So you're going to link the models here, and then let's find the other people central, okay, and click open. Of course, you have to define the positioning method and so on, but that's different story. Okay, so all right, so why I'm showing this, because if you're going to monitor other people's work, you will use this collaborate features. Okay, after you have done the collaborate setting, workset setting, and so on, so you can also monitor. So let's say you want to monitor the level. Okay, for instance, if this level is not really going to be up here, okay, you have your own plumbing level 2, plumbing level 1, and this is the architecture level indications. So models that you link can actually be monitored. So if I go to copy monitor, select link, okay, I'm going to select the one of the link, okay, and you can monitor levels, you can monitor any architecture elements, structural elements that you link. Okay, for instance, you want to monitor this level, okay, and it has the heartbeat icon here, means that it's already monitored and finished. Okay, and you can also add few more things if you want to add more monitoring features. Let's say you have the elements, you want to copy the roof level here. So if you haven't set your own level, or you want to copy this level from architecture into your project, or any elements from other consultants file, you can simply click copy and click at the object that you want to copy and monitor. So by clicking copy means that you will see the heartbeat icon there, and then means that you already bring or like curi these elements from other consultants, so that you won't have to worry about the changes made by this link file. Okay, so once you have these icons ready, whatever changes made by the architect team, the architect models, so it will notify you upon once you open the file every day and every time. Okay, especially because across consultants we work as a link models as usual. So that would be, for now in Malaysia, that would be the best method if you are not spending on BIM 360. Okay, but if you want the best things, the best workflow, as of now, I've seen many people converting the workflow and emerging with BIM 360 design. Okay, so you can watch my previous webinar on BIM 360 design and how to work on that. So you can still look in our Facebook page and YouTube page. Okay, so this is the file that you copy here. Okay, and you can also copy like elements. For instance, if you want to copy the walls here to be monitored. Okay, you can copy things up here. Okay, and all the files here is monitored. Okay, so if let's say architect has moved the walls and you have the plumbing inside the wall, so this would affect your plumbing modeling. So this is why we monitor the models, and if architect move the walls to other positions, you will get notification saying that the wall is no longer there, and you have to move your plumbing to other position as well. Okay, so that will be things that you can try out and figure out on your own, because this is not going to be hard, and you just repeat whatever steps that I show you earlier on how to copy monitoring. Okay, and for this reason, I will have you can come to our training, and I will have another webinar setting for this online lessons for this. Okay, right. So let's answer the questions. Right. From your point of view, what would be a standard work set setting in a high-rise project like podium with several floors, car park, and common areas? Okay, for this would be, there are many ideas on working on a high-rise project. Okay, if you going to set a high-rise project, I would prefer you set this work set by region. Means that if podium, you're going to group up the levels. You by creating worksite for every level. If you think it's not practical, try to group up the levels. Okay, for let's say you have 3 towers with different, you can group up to divide the towers into, like, say 3 groups. Okay, tower A/1, tower A/2, tower A/3 as a worksite. And you will know that for some of the project, like when I see the projects like our current ongoing project 118, okay, and that project is actually grouping up the models by a few levels. For instance, you have basements, you have basements to level 1 as one work set. You have level 1 to level 6 as one work set. But of course, in terms of the file, it will be a lot heavier, but it's going to be manageable. Okay, and that is why for high-rise, you have to define it clearly, and putting every level as work set is not really practical. Try to divide the work sets by group of levels, or by by wings. Okay, you can divide by functional features. So let's say hotel is one work set, residential studio is one word set, and so on. Okay, car park as one word set, commercial as one word set, and so on. So you define it clearly so that every word set would have a few levels. Okay, and of course, the way we do this word set, because at the end of the day, we're going to control the views from each word set. So that is the reason why. And is this copy applied to other project imported but created by software? I'm not really clear about this question, Lavender. Is this copy applied to other project imported? What do you mean actually by other software? Okay, for collaborations, unfortunately, it works well just with Revit files only. Okay, so if you're going to use this, copy monitor. As of now, we haven't tried yet for this project, but there are particular software that allow to copy monitor. I have to check on that later and come back to you. But for as usual, Revit will always work well with Revit file. Okay. When using the linking and monitoring features on the Architect Central model, did we have to open up the original model, use the linking and monitoring features? Okay, this monitoring can be used and saved on local and also saved in your central model. So let's say if you are the local mod using the local PC and you're going to link, you know, if you are working internally, so you have, that's different. So when I show you about the monitoring features, copy and monitoring features, it is for the different disciplines model. Okay, if you are the architects and you're going to monitor the mechanical models or electrical models, so then other than creating your own collaboration setting for that, you will you will copy monitor the files from other consultants just to make sure your architecture model works well with them. And if they make changes, if they make any modification on their model, that's the purpose of copy monitoring. You will get notifications on the changes that they make. Okay. Okay, it won't affect the original file because you just copy whatever things that you monitor or you copy from or copy into the workable file that you are working on. So it will just create as a temporary monitoring file. So it won't affect the file that you get from them. Okay, request a webinar that teach how to set coordinate of project. I'm confused on the True North and Project North thing, of course. So I will try to set the online lessons for that in the upcoming weeks. Okay, so because when you are setting up the files or the Revit files, you will be sometimes the positioning method. You will get confused on how to assign the coordination method and how you're going to make sure your model is aligned properly with other consultants when you do coordination. So that is why for True North and Project North thing, people make it very confusing because we don't really understand it well, what is actually the True North and Project North thing. And for that reason, we have to, I will organize another webinar, another online lessons for this. Okay. Any other questions? So hopefully I answer your question, Eric. Okay. So if you have any other issues and need my help, you can always go to our websites as usual. Okay. And go to help desk and find it in Acad System new help desk for our help. Okay. And you can always just continue as guest and fill up all the information required here and the details that that you want to explain to us, so that we'll get back to you with the response as soon as possible for to understand the situation and solve the issue. Okay, and then in our websites also we have another features in our homepage if you want to see any other activities. Okay, like upcoming webinars, we have also the training promotion running for now and the educational product licenses information here. And we have planned a series of webinars for upcoming weeks and days, so you don't have to worry about the knowledge. And my session, next session will be the BIM 360 manager roles. So for those who are interested to know how BIM 360 manager manage their BIM 360 account and so on, so that session will explain it all. Okay, and if you are interested to get proper training from us, you can always go contact us and find the proper training that we provide with certificates and so on. Okay, and don't forget to watch again this session in our Facebook page and YouTube channel. Okay, and is there any other questions? Okay, thanks. All right, thanks, friend, for joining this session online relation. Hopefully to see you guys again in the upcoming sessions. All right, so before we end our session, just a quick pause. Okay. So I need to know your satisfaction on this session, whether it helps you on your work, okay? Whether you will be able to use this on your working, and would you recommend this online lesson to your friends? So hopefully yes, because we are giving it for free. So why not you bring it up all your friends sitting together and watch this online lesson. So we can have discussions. If you put comments on our Facebook or in our YouTube channel, we can have a continuous discussion on this particular topic. So this is our way to communicate with our clients or any Autodesk users available in the world. Okay. All right, thank you for the answers. Okay, so hopefully if you don't have any other questions, feel free to contact us for any other issues. Okay, and we'll see you guys in the upcoming online lessons. Okay, so thank you very much for your time and hope to see you guys again next time. Bye.